Kind of crazy how that works out, right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're live for On Air with Beacon again on the video side. I'm Professor Chris, co-founder of Beacon DeFi. We got Greg here, community leader at Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi. How are you today, Greg?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Yourself?
Wonderful. We were just talking about when I lived in California, because Greg is out in California, and we were talking about how, what was the easiest way for me to get to the Bay Area. I lived in a city, a very agricultural area. Shout out to the Central Valley, to Fresno, California. And normally, when I wanted to go to the city, because we were talking about that, I would take a specific route up the 99 freeway to the 152. Uh, it wasn't a freeway all the way, but it was a freeway for quite a bit. You cross over the 5 freeway, head out to an area where we always stopped called Casa de Fruta for dried fruits and snacks, and it's just a good place to stretch. And then from there, you hit Gilroy, California, the garlic capital of the world, and then you went up the 101 all the way up to South Bay and that whole Yay area, as we used to call it back then. So shout out to everybody out in the 415, the 707. Hopefully you all are doing well. So today we've covered some interesting things on this show. Like last week we talked about safety and security, right, Greg? And then the week before that we talked about the all-weather portfolio.
Yes, sir.
Now, for a lot of people, they still don't know what DeFi is. And that's kind of what the focus of today is. So if you're seasoned, if you understand what decentralized finance is, send this video to your friends. And that's basically going to be seasoned, the premise of today. We know a lot of people in this space too, Greg, that they know crypto, but they don't know what DeFi is either. So this is kind of an all-encompassing thing, because I remember specifically there was a post from Mert, the big Solana dev from Helios, and he asked a question. I'm assuming it was Solana pointed about how would you want to have more DeFi, and he didn't actually say in Solana, but specifically he said, how can we make DeFi more fun? So I'm going to ask you that question here with our open, Greg. How can we make, in your opinion, how can we make DeFi more fun?
Oh, wow. You got me on the spot.
I do. As I wear my MetaMask shirt here, waiting for this airdrop.
Well, airdrops is not the way, in my opinion. Airdrops stresses me out. For me to make DeFi more fun, I would just like to see it more accessible, honestly, for the guy that doesn't have $1 million to invest.
Sure.
I would like to see, and you guys do that at Beacon very well, but someone teach the guy, the blue collar guy, or someone with only a couple $1,000s to invest, how to really utilize that money and make it more powerful for them. For me, that would be the most fun. And I mean, I know I've been trying to do that a little bit in the backgrounds, coattailing off of what you guys do at Beacon, which I absolutely love, by the way. Got to give you guys a shout out there. I mean, I've been with you guys since 2021.
Well, let's ask that question. I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to ask that question. What was it about, looking for information that was out there, getting started? What was it about hearing about DeFi that got you interested?
Well, so I mean, I was just like, I think a lot of people, I got on Coinbase and Robinhood and all that, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I was in that crypto craze, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, this has got to be the way to make money. And of course, I'd buy a token on its way up, and as soon as I buy the token, it would tank. No clue what I was doing. And so I just, I figured there's got to be a better way. I mean, there has to be a better way. People aren't continuously doing this if everybody's just losing their ass. So I started searching. I mean, ways to make money with crypto, and yield farming.com had actually popped up, and I had seen a video of you back when you were with yieldfarming.com. And what really, really caught my eye about you guys then was just like the first thing you had brought up was security. Like, how do you stay safe in this industry? And it may not be actually answering your question, but that's that's what really hooked me in, was like, okay, safety first, because obviously I don't want to lose my funds, right? Like, whether it's from just buying a token and watching it tank after I buy it, or somebody phishing me, or pressing a wrong link and my wallet being drained. I don't want none of that to happen, because I mean, I don't have $1 million to invest.
Yeah,
So I mean, and even if I did, I don't like losing $5. So
neither do
what's
I.
what's the best way to do that? And in my opinion, it's with DeFi. Like, take these last couple days, the market has not been the best. Well, we'll just say that it's there's been a lot of downward movement, and my portfolio honestly isn't that bad, because I've been raking in the fees because everybody's swapping out. So perfect.
Exactly.
Not only am I raking in the fees, I'm accumulating more of the blue chips that I want on the way down at a lower price. So thank you.
You're very welcome. No,
Excuse
I
me, I'm
think that's
sorry.
probably the best thing that's probably the best part to really kind of bring about. 1 second, I'm just sharing the link out one more spot. Uh, and I'm glad you answered the question, because I think for a lot of people the it's different for a lot of different people, right? Um, because I know a lot of people who are in crypto, but not a lot of people are in DeFi. And I don't know if enough people know the difference between the two. So I think for most people, if you're watching this or if you're curious about this, you may have even NFTs, right? You've heard about NFTs. You've heard about some, maybe let's even say now poly market, right? You're curious about, what is a stable coin? What are these things? So crypto is essentially digital assets. Now, the word cryptocurrency, which I still only really put with mainly Bitcoin, mainly ETH, and possibly some others like DAG, for example, where in the beginning it was like a proof of work miner setup that actually uh, really did a lot of the validation of transactions, because essentially it's a digital asset. For most people, they're going to look at crypto and like, this is kind of funny money, because I can't actually hold it. It's not like a quarter or a nickel or that I have here. I don't have a dollar bill here, because it's not tangible money that I can hold in my hands. To be fair, the money in your bank isn't real either, right? It's just a bunch of ones and zeros on a screen. And you have some of it, people are sending it to you, but you don't actually realize that it's real until you go to an ATM and actually withdraw it and hold it in your hands. And even then, and this is a bit of a philosophical point, right? What is money? It's basically something that you can use as legal tender to pay, buy or sell for transactions, right? Simple as that. Crypto is very similar. The only difference is that actually there is no difference. You'd cash out the same way. It's a little bit of a different process, but then the money comes back into your bank account and then you can use it from there. Now, in the future, you won't have to do all that. You'll be able to just withdraw money at an ATM. For example, Greg, like if you have one of these cards like from Cypher or MetaMask, Avalanche, EtherFi, you can go to an ATM, withdraw money. It's real money in your hands, but it's based on blockchains. So the difference between crypto and DeFi is that in the world of decentralized finance, it's a world where financial transactions, much like if we're going to call it a fintech type of environment, happen. I just hit my mic using smart contracts. That's really in my opinion, the main difference between the two is smart contracts are used in a decentralized way to handle transactions. Now, before we move on, I should probably also mention the difference between centralized finance and decentralized finance. In a centralized finance world, one entity owns everything on the exchange, right? If you go to Coinbase to buy some crypto, it's what we call a centralized exchange because it's a centralized crypto exchange where you can go buy and sell crypto, right? Coinbase owns that. So you're counterparty to Coinbase. In the event that something happens to Coinbase, good chance because they're not technically, well, they're not using smart contracts in the way that other people would consider it normal. Decentralized finance, your money is on one interesting part. You technically own your crypto because it's in an address that is custodied by yourself, and there's a little net right by my face. Don't clip that. um, so what we normally say in DeFi is that because you custody your own assets, you custody your crypto, you are your own bank. You get to move your assets to any blockchain, any protocol that you want. You can stake your crypto anywhere that you want, remove it anytime that you want. It's with you. It is self custody. That's the beauty of decentralized finance. Nobody owns it. It's just a whole bunch of computers and servers and protocols all meshed together in multiple different ecosystems. And that's the main difference between centralized finance, like everything happening on Coinbase, and then decentralized finance, where everything happens amongst the greater oceans of ecosystems, really. The hardest part between, well, the hardest part, I think, between being in centralized finance and being in decentralized finance, and I think you might agree with me on this, Greg, is choice. You have lots of choice between different ecosystems, and you'll get a lot of tribalism. A lot of people that say that Solana sucks. A lot of people say that Ethereum sucks. Bitcoin maxis think we're all stupid anyway, because why would you ever put your money at risk? Things like that. But overall, did I hit most of the points there on what DeFi is?
I believe so. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, yeah. I was trying
Because
to
I
think of
think
something
for,
I can pick apart, but I don't think that there's anything. I think you got it all.
yeah, the hardest part is that people will think that doing trades is DeFi. It's really not. It can be a portion of what you do in DeFi because the difference between a centralized exchange like a Coinbase at crypto.com, at Kraken, at Binance, KuCoin, MEXC, I can keep naming more. Our friends at Netcoins, for example, is that everything is contained within those walls. Robinhood also. It's just there in those walls. That's, I think, maybe the safety and the familiarity with being in an environment like that, right? I just know that if I'm at Coinbase, all my stuff is on Coinbase. I don't have to worry about it being taken to other places. It's just going to be at Coinbase, and that's fine until controls come in, right? We've seen people who get deplatformed from Coinbase for whatever reason. You get exploited or something, and they think your account might be doing suspicious things. They can literally just pull the plug whenever they want. That's kind of the bad thing about being on a centralized exchange. Or if you're trading and then suddenly things go poorly, like what happened on Friday, which they're calling the new Black Friday in terms of crypto, and you have literal order books stall. And because you're on Coinbase, you only have Coinbase as your option. So you're kind of stuck there. And like in DeFi, you can go between, there's multiple different ways, multiple decentralized exchanges, which are available on multiple ecosystems to do business. So I personally believe that most CEXs know that the writing is on the wall. And pushing it out even further, banks see the writing on the wall. They can see that most people are looking to move their money to a centralized exchange, to a decentralized exchange, because they know that, frankly, people want more control over their money. If I have $100,000 in the bank right now, Greg, can I just go to the bank and withdraw it?
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
They don't. Most of them don't have $100,000 in their vault.
That's exactly why. There's reasons for that, and they make perfect sense. The fractional
Get a
banking system
cashier's check.
exists. Yeah, you can. They don't want people in a situation where robbers can come and do a bank run. Right? If something happens, suddenly people freak out. They start going to the bank and wanting to take their money out. Everyone can't do it at once. You can't just drain the system. It takes a couple of days. Even if I'm sending money from one bank to another, it takes several days. Unlike in DeFi, where you can send money, stable coins, whatever digital assets you want, from one party to another in seconds, and it's settled and finalized right then and there. That has been the vision since, I don't know, 2008, 2011, of how we want borderless money remittance to happen. It started a long time ago. Obviously, Bitcoin's a part of that, Ethereum's a part of that. Other networks like Ripple, Stellar Lumens, even the origins of Facebook's DM project, used to be called Project Libra, all about trying to help the underserved, the unbanked, with money remittance, making it easier to send money to people around the planet. And ultimately, that's just basically what a lot of how, even when I was first buying Coinbase back in 2011, you were just buying it just to be able to have it and hold it. And that's fine. But what if you could do more with your crypto? And really, that's the key of why DeFi has become popular. If you're just wanting to be a trader, that's fine, trade. But know that 95% of traders lose money. We know this from Friday. The system was frankly almost practically reset. We saw people with 7, 8 figures down to nothing. It's crazy. But you can diversify, and you should diversify. Like if you're 100% in crypto, you should not be 100% crypto. You should go out, do some annuities, do some real estate, uh, anything out there to help diversify the bag. Same thing with crypto. You should diversify your holdings. You shouldn't just be doing trading. You should also do some DeFi. Have your assets working for you. If you don't need to hold, you shouldn't be holding stable coins. Stable coins don't offer you anything but just being a digital asset that's pegged to a fiat currency. In this case, in most cases for stable coins, the US dollar. Holding it does not appreciate. It's never going to appreciate. It's fixed value. Now, that's the main idea, right? So use them. You can farm them. We have many people in our group who go into yield farming, which is literally the idea of yield farming is taking your capital, leasing it to a protocol into their mechanism so that they can actually use that liquidity in other places, and you receive an incentivized yield for doing so, regardless of what the mechanism is. There's at least a dozen mechanisms in DeFi that we can name another time. But if you're curious about not only just getting into DeFi, but getting into crypto, there's a lot of people that don't even know where to start. So that's what we're going to talk about now. And I need to share a different screen. Okay, so if you want to get into just buying crypto, the first place my voice is cracking, I apologize. The first place that we start is a centralized exchange. Now, I'm going with the homepage for Kraken here first. Apparently, I'm already logged into my Coinbase, so that's why I decided to go with Kraken first. But a centralized exchange, like I mentioned, a place where you can go and buy crypto assets on your phone, on your desktop. You can have it, and it's going to be there on their system. This is going to be the easiest way to get into crypto. You just go, sign up for an account on Kraken, on Coinbase, on crypto.com, on Binance. If you're in the US, Binance.us. These are all valid ways to get started. Now, we recommend Coinbase over everybody, mainly because they, in my opinion, they've been around they haven't been around the longest. They've just about been. They're pretty much the largest CEX in the world. Binance is the other. But they have the most going for them. If you're looking at CEXs that have influence in at least in the US. Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO of Coinbase, has very good ties, not only in the executive branch, but also on Capitol Hill. He's helping shape a lot of the crypto US policy, the US crypto policy that's out there, driving a lot of retail, hopefully back in to getting into crypto. So going here is as simple as opening an account. You'll have to do, no matter which way you go, you're going to have to do what's called a KYC or know your customer process. So if you're looking to get into buying crypto without providing information about yourself, that's tough sledding these days, guys. Back then, you could probably go peer to peer and even just do it like on, well, we won't talk about the different ways you can do it, but it was possible. These days, it's difficult, even on PayPal, even on Cash App. Those are two places also that you can use that aren't a centralized exchange. Uh, what you would consider a centralized exchange is an entity like this that provides an order book specifically for trading crypto. That's generally what a centralized exchange is, a CEX. You can also pronounce it SEX if you want. But all of these have markets. eToro is another one. That's probably another one you may want to consider. But we mentioned these four in particular because they are the easiest for a US resident to buy crypto and then take your assets into decentralized finance. Not every CEX will allow you to do that. You may have certain CEXs around the world that only allow you to have your crypto on their platform. No sending it anywhere else, at least into DeFi. You could probably send it to a hardware wallet. That's probably the other reason you'd want to do that. But if you're looking to just get in and buy some crypto, if you're in the US, definitely check out Coinbase as tier number one. And then Kraken. Kraken's great for business. Crypto.com and Binance.us are probably the other ones that we'll talk about. And that's if you want to buy crypto, possibly stake crypto, depending on which platform you're on, or trade crypto. If you really don't want to do that to get into DeFi, you just want to buy some crypto to hold, or if you want to actually buy it and then use it later on, you have a couple more options. The first I'll mention is MoonPay. And this will allow you to actually take crypto that you buy and send it directly to an address that could be in decentralized finance on a blockchain. You do have to pay some fees for it. I think it's like 3.5%, 4%. It's just the price of doing business these days. The other is Stripe. They have a service called Link, which is crypto.link.com, where you can buy Ethereum and literally send it to a bunch of different blockchains. In either case, until I think you have to sign up for an account, but yeah, in either case, you need to provide KYC. And normally with KYC, just to give you the idea of what it is for most people, is just a driver's license, a passport, and I think in some cases a different bill to kind of tie all that together. As long as you have a bank account as well, you can tie that in using Plaid. Stripe also has a service that can do that as well. And that's it. That's all you need to buy crypto. In terms of what crypto to buy, obviously none of this here is financial advice. Normally what we do is we like to go check out the top, well, let's see. Do they have a list here? No. I was thinking they
A
had a
lot of
list
them
available.
require a selfie now as well, Chris.
Oh,
So
they,
like you'll
yeah,
provide your ID, and then you got to do the turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right
yes.
selfie as well, just to make sure your face matches up with your ID. But
I had to do that last night,
um,
actually. So we normally use when we're on calls, like if you check out our Wednesday call, which is tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll always start out with a look at CoinGecko. It's an independent token listing protocol that's out there. You can literally, if you're looking to do some initial research, just check out the top 50. I'd say if you're looking for the largest crypto or digital assets by market cap. That is what you would be looking at here. So if you just want to hold crypto, easiest way to get in. Go open a Coinbase account. If you open a Kraken account, it's faster with regards to how long you have to wait, because every single one of these platforms is going to ask you, well, first off, once you buy the crypto, it won't be in your wallet and be able to be used until your crypto funds have settled. That's still a little bit part of the old guard, so it could take a couple of days, especially if you're using size. If you're going to buy, 5 to 50 grand or higher in, let's say, Ethereum, you're going to have to wait till all of that money settles before you can actually do anything with that money, to a degree. Certain places will, because they're well capitalized, allow you to start trading right away. So there's that. But if you want to do more with it, like take it and actually withdraw it into DeFi, you're going to have to wait a specific amount of time. The time's better these days. Like Coinbase is like 3 to 5 business days, including the time for it to settle. Binance, unless it's gotten better, uses like 7 to 10 business days. Kraken is, I think, now 48 to 72 hours. It just depends. It used to be 24 hours, but it just depends. Crypto.com, the only difference between Crypto.com and everyone else is that they only provide their DEX services, rather their CEX services, CEX services on their mobile app. So you have to be comfortable with using a mobile app in order to use Crypto.com. Wow, look at them. They're doing the legwork, Greg. 0 fee deposits through ACH Wire and Apple Google Pay. That's pretty good.
I mean,
like
yeah,
that.
That's great.
I know, we're like, hey, that's great.
Definitely beats Coinbase's fees, that's for sure.
That is correct. So, guys, all the information I'm giving you today is available to the majority of everyone who joins our communities. Just wanted to give a shout out real quick to all of our Beacon founding members, or Beacon founding mastermind members, and Beacon Challenge members. Much love to you guys. You help make what we do possible. You can join our absolutely free group, Total Value Locked, school.com/Beacon from Beacon DeFi. A lot of the information we're going over today is available here on the site in our free material. Easiest way to get there is just go here to the Start Here post, get a message from myself and our CEO Andrew, and then you can check out our 3 paths on how to learn more. You can take the free route. You can get the handheld mentorship with me route, and join some of our offerings. So we've gone through what's crypto, how to get crypto. If you just want to get in and hold crypto, you can do that on a variety of apps. You can do it from your bank now soon as well. There are multiple banks who are going to allow crypto purchases to be done from your bank account. Does that mean you'll be holding those assets personally? That I don't know. That I don't know. For many years, Robinhood, if you bought crypto on Robinhood, you didn't actually own the asset. You owned a cash position on the asset, and you had to have to cash it out before you could move it. And you never got to move it. You just cashed it out. So that's changed. They now actually have a full DeFi suite that's coming soon, but it's only going to be open to Robinhood customers. So if you're from another blockchain and you're wanting to come into Robinhood's blockchain, that's not happening. So again, centralized DeFi, all beholden to one entity. That's the reason why we prefer just general DeFi, because you have the ability to take hold of your own crypto, self-custody, right? That's the whole key. Greg, I wanted to ask you a quick question before we move forward. What was the hardest thing to grasp about learning about how DeFi worked?
Oh man, for me, God, it's been years now, but
it's been a little bit.
I would say probably like, how do I get from one network to another? I mean, back in 2020, 2021, there wasn't all these options, and they weren't quick, right? Like you would bridge something and it would be days sometimes before you saw your money arrive. And the whole time you're sitting there going, did I just send it to the wrong place? Like, what's going on? Especially being brand new in the ecosystem, going like, man, I watched that video like 5 times. I not only I checked everything 10 times before I actually hit send. What is going on? And like there was no timers on bridges like there are on a lot of them now, saying, "Oh, it's gonna hit in 15 seconds or 5 minutes, depending on if it's a brand new blockchain or not." You know what I mean? But like 5 minutes is fast.
Hmm.
Like super fast. But for me, that was the hardest part. And even like I still explain stuff to my wife who sits next to me a good portion of the time when she's not at work doing all this stuff. And I was trying to explain to her yesterday on how well, she was trying to move Bitcoin. Somehow she ended up opening up two Coinbase accounts. She wanted to merge them both. And like I've never dealt with trying to send from one Coinbase account to another. So I was just trying to explain to her,
Hmm.
like sending it, well, you might have to send it to a Bitcoin wallet and then send it to another, or
No,
trade it
it's
to
actually it's
USDC.
actually very elegant now on Coinbase. You just have to
Really?
you just yeah, you just click on send, and then you can actually enter in the email of the user that the other account is on, and it just sends it
Oh,
instantly. That's the beautiful thing about Coinbase has solved that problem. I was like
nice.
worried, but yeah, I
Uh,
found this out. Honestly, it happened. It had to have happened maybe this year or last year, but um, yeah, when someone wanted to send me money on Coinbase, all I had to do was tell them what my email was or my username was, and automatically it actually just moved there instantaneously. It was really smooth.
well, that's good to know. I
So that
didn't know. I was trying to explain to
yeah,
her, like, well, you're gonna have to send it to USDC and
no,
then maybe send it to
no,
your sole address and then send it back to the other one. And she was just like, I mean, that works.
yeah.
So
If
I
it's
think
on,
for me, that
so
was the
that's the good
most
thing about
confusing.
Coinbase. If it's on Coinbase, it can stay on Coinbase very easily. You have to know the username of the other account that you're sending the assets to, and it's very fast. It's instantaneous, and it's because technically it's all in the same spot, right? So
Right.
um, that part's the easy part. So yeah, to give you an idea, guys, of just how old I am in this space, the way that because I used her back when I started in DeFi, there were four blockchains. There was Ethereum mainnet, and then there were two other side chains. There was Binance Smart Chain from Binance. What is going on here? Mac OS, I tell you. Um, and there was Polygon, a layer two side chain. And then at that point, there was also Phantom Opera, but very few people used it. Uh, Solana would be soon after I started. So there were very few, very, very few. The way that I got money into Polygon, because it was very difficult to uh, to get there originally. In fact, it was like a 3 day affair for most cases, or you had to send ETH to Ether USDC down to ETH mainnet and then paid the money to bridge it into Polygon that way. Or I remember these guys because these were annoying. Binance, you could actually bring money down to Binance Smart Chain and then use a bridge between BSC and Polygon. At the time, there were only two, and not they didn't always have the right amount of liquidity. Like back then, I mean, today bridges are like billions of dollars deep, right? You can easily, if you have layer zero, just send money anywhere because the pools are billions of dollars deep. Back then, you had to go actually check the X liquidity on the bridge to make sure there's even enough money for you to send over to refresh the bridge.
My
So it's a
goodness.
lot easier for you guys now. Like the fact that you literally have services like Link from Stripe, where you literally just choose which blockchain you want it to go to from a credit card. Anyway, even PayPal has a way to get into Solana and other blockchains very easily now. So, um, yeah, the times have changed. Now, actually getting into DeFi and using DeFi is a different story because you need to understand a little bit of how blockchains work. They're all different ecosystems, although there are four major types to really think about. There's anything that's under the Ethereum umbrella. So anything that's called EVM or Ethereum Virtual Machine blockchain. So that's going to be layer one ETH mainnet at the bottom of the funnel. And then from a scaling perspective, having layer twos on top, which provide cheaper fees, easier ways to get around, and then eventually those all settle on layer one Ethereum mainnet. That was the original scaling plan from Vitalik Buterin and the other co-found. Solana is what we call settlement layer consensus validation, and then you also have Bitcoin, which is completely different. It's a proof of work chain. They're definitely looking to find ways to bring DeFi into BTC. Still very early stages, but I think this next year will be the year where we'll see some decent actual movement on BTC L1 as an actual BTC blockchain. Now there's layer twos. One of them is prolifically stacks that actually do write into layer one Bitcoin. But that whole mechanism is completely different. And then you have Cosmos as the fourth. Cosmos IBC, there's a whole bunch of chains that are app chains that all roll around there. And when I say major, those are the ones we look at. Of course, there's things like Polkadot, there's eGold, eGold, not eGold. Um, I can't remember the name for eGold now. Algorand is one. There's Hedera, Stellar, a whole bunch of other ones. They're all what we call alternative layer ones. They don't Starknet. They all don't go down to ETH layer one. So they're their own blockchains. Avalanche. Thank you. Another one. They have a whole ecosystem of other layer ones that use the template there. So there's hundreds of literal blockchains that are active right now, and trying to figure out which ones to choose can be difficult. So obviously, join Total Value Locked if you want to learn more about that. We try and focus on like 5 to 7 blockchains tops, mainly to help with your choices, but also that's where all the action is, and that's where we feel is the best way to earn the best returns on your money. So if you wanted to get started, the first thing we talk about, and this is kind of based on what we talked about last Tuesday, is you need your own browser for it. Don't use the same browser you use to watch Netflix or just do all your regular personal computing. Don't use that for crypto. That's a very bad idea. That's why we recommend Brave browser. Is a privacy focused browser. It was created by the original founder of I called it Netscape for a second, Mozilla. Still the same project, and it's privacy focused. It's a great crypto browser to start with. Brave.com is the website, and it's actually built on top of Google Chrome's code base. So all the regular Google Chrome extensions in the Google Web Store also work with Brave, but you get that privacy focus that's there. Makes it a lot easier to get started. This would be the browser I would use specifically for cryptos, the one we recommend. And what's great about Brave, just like Chrome, is that it also has profiles. So I can hit different profiles here, which I normally we talked about doing that last week, especially if you're going to different ecosystems, have different browser profiles, because you won't have to worry about mixing and matching your extensions. Each one is a new sandbox, and that's the way you should look at the experience. Now, if you're going to be going into Ethereum virtual machine blockchains, or ones that use layer one Ethereum as the final settlement layer, we recommend Rabby Wallet. MetaMask. MetaMask is great. For many years, it was the wallet of choice for the majority of people in the space. There's other great wallets like Trust Wallet, Rainbow, Talisman. There's quite a few that are out there, but even Uniswap has their own wallet. But Rabby is the best in our opinion, mainly because they have what's called the gas account. And the gas account is a way for you to deposit stable coins into your Rabby wallet and then use that gas account as a way to pay for transactions. So you don't have to worry about having ETH. You can just pay with stable coins. This is very helpful, especially in a time where ETH could be back on the rise or fall significantly. You're not actually paying with that exposure. You're just paying with stable coins. So that makes it makes things infinitely easier in my personal opinion. Plus, it works for any wallet that's tied to this Rabby extension. So that can be any wallet that you create off the seed phrase, because every seed phrase can create thousands of wallets. If you have hardware wallets that you connect, those also can use the same gas account. So it just makes it so much easier. And that's the main reason. Plus, they have a batch revoke approvals inside of the wallet, which is something you should do regularly. That's easy to do, very simple to do here in Rabby, and it's just easy to use. So, Greg, I wanted to ask you, based on your experience, do you feel that Rabby is the best wallet for EVM?
Hands down. Hands down. I mean, it's got all the security fixtures that let you know if you haven't touched a blockchain or a smart contract. It lets you know how old a smart contract is. Um, it it highlights if they're trying to get you to approve infinity amount of tokens to be able to spend, so that you can change that to whatever you're either trying to use or the amount that you have in your wallet.
Oh, I think Greg lagged out. I don't think it's me.
Approvals
Oh, there's.
in DeFi, in my opinion. I wish it was available on more blockchains because of that, um,
Yeah.
other than
Well,
just
and
EVM.
it's available on a ton, just not on
Well,
the next big choice, right? Which is Solana. So I know
right.
people are going to ask, what about Coinbase's wallet? Coinbase wallet's fine, or it's going to be called the base app at some point. It's fine. There's some things about it that I don't think are very user friendly. I don't like the fact, unless they fixed it, that you can't not choose unlimited approval when you sign a smart contract. Which means if I go and try and deposit into a staking farm today, they have the right to have unlimited amounts of my token to spend. I Instead of me just saying no, you're only going to have, if I'm depositing $100, you get nothing but $100 of access, because there's a trustless and permissionless system. So that's the only reason I don't like Coinbase Wallet. I love it for NFTs. I love it for the other parts that are great, the social part, the messaging. That's all great. It does support multiple blockchain ecosystems more than Rabby, which is great as well. But until they fix some of those things, I still cannot, with confidence, say that's the wallet to use. Not when Rabby is just so good with the game. If you're in Solana, there's a couple different wallets to choose from. I use all of them. I use Soulflare. I use Soulflare here on my Solana Seeker. You know, there's also Jupiter's wallet. Phantom is still the leader by market share. Uh, it works on a couple different EVM blockchains like Polygon, ETH Mainnet, Arbitrum, and Base, I believe. So it's okay for that. I don't know why they don't support all of them. That's kind of weird in my opinion, because it's the same address on all, regardless. Um, Backpack also a strong choice if that's something you want to look into, because a lot of people don't love the privacy features or lack of privacy features in some cases on what Phantom does. I don't know if it's all FUD, but Soulflare and Backpack also really good wallets to use. So if you're using Cosmos, Kepler would be, but if you're using BTC, even some other blockchains that Rabby doesn't support, Phantom is decent because they support SUI, they support um, Bitcoin layer twos to a degree. Like if you do ordinals or runes or alkanes, you can do that with Phantom. So there's that. But yeah, Rabby for EVM, Phantom for Solana, a couple other blockchains uh, would be the recommendation. And the hardest part for most people, and this is what we'll cover now in the next 10 minutes, is funding the wallet. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to send funds from Coinbase to the Arbitrum blockchain. And then we'll replicate it, I think, yeah, we can do that for Phantom. So let's say we are at Coinbase and I want to send some money, some USDC down to let's say my Rabby wallet here on the Arbitrum blockchain. The reason why this is important, and we call this setting up your fiat to DeFi pipeline, is because one thing we fully believe in, guys, is the idea of having routines. You should have routines for everything. Why? Because you will be in a situation where you will not necessarily be doing everything the same every single time, right? And the biggest error you can have, honestly, is human error. So having a routine makes it so that you're doing the same thing over and over again. You get that muscle memory, right, Greg? And you're in a situation where things work out. So tell me your how routines have affected the way that you do your DeFi activities.
Well, I mean, I know what to check, where to start looking immediately as soon as I start approving a transaction, right? We'll start with my wallets, for example. I know to start to look in the top right and scan down quickly for anything. And for me, it's less than 30 seconds now. I know if something's off and I can hit cancel.
Yeah.
But before, I would literally look at every single line as I'm getting used to doing this, making sure that, okay, this is the right amount I'm expecting coming in. This is the same amount I'm expecting going out. Is this the correct blockchain? Is it, you know, I mean, uh, is this the contract that I think that I'm supposed to be interacting with? For Rabby, I can click it and say, okay, and I do still do this today. How old is the contract? You know, is it
Right.
at least 72 hours old at the very minimum? If it's
Mm-hmm.
not, well, then this might not be a farm I want to get into.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that, I mean, I didn't go look at the smart contract itself, you know what I mean? Because someone like me, I'm not going to know what I'm looking at anyways. I can't read code. I can't read all that
You can't
code.
read code? You
Yeah,
can't
I'd
read
have
mumbo
to
jumbo?
copy paste it and say, hey, Gemini, what is this? You know what I mean?
Got it.
Which is an option now, thank
It's an
God.
option.
You know, what does this contract do? You could do that if you really wanted to go to the extreme. But
Yeah, and I'd recommend you do that, by the way, guys, as a pro tip. Utilize utilize an LLM, an AI companion. Windows, if you have Windows, you can certainly do that with Copilot. If you use Bing, you can use the latest version of ChatGPT always in Bing for free. Google has Gemini, which, in my opinion, hands down, probably the best on the planet. If you're in DeFi, you can use Venice. You can use anything from BitTensor, like at 19 or Glider. Those are all great as well. There's a bunch of different ways to do AI now in terms of using them as an assistant to help you understand concepts. So if there's something that I talk about that doesn't make sense, please use AI. Use AI to understand that. What I did want to do real quick before I move forward is quick shout out to co-host, of course, but shout out to my personal Twitter. I have some articles here that if you guys are curious more on, just understanding what a Web3 wallet is, why not to be afraid of self-custody, stable coins, and a DeFi starter pack, which is a lot of what we talked about today on how to get in. Check out those articles. They've thankfully been very well received. We've gotten at least 1,000 looks on these. We'd love to get thousands more. So if you know anybody who's looking to get into DeFi, show them this video and help them get their money down from Coinbase or whatever CEX to their wallet very quickly. So we're going to walk through that right now. When you first start out, especially on an EVM chain, you're going to need two things. You need a little bit of ETH. You won't need more than, frankly, $2 worth, and then USDC. Two things that are free to send from Coinbase to any EVM, well, not to most EVM blockchains. We start out, you have two choices. We normally start people out on Arbitrum. You can also go to Base, whichever is easier for you. We've always used Arbitrum as one of our first places in all of our content for many years now. So I'm going to show you how to send money from Coinbase to Arbitrum very quickly. So I have here at home this section over here. You can go into my assets and do it that way, but this is much faster. You can just go to send crypto. All right, fine.
Is it still
That's
sitting
not
in
true. I have
USD?
crypto to send.
Unless it's still
It's
sitting in USD, and then it'll think that it's
Yeah,
still in
because it's
USD.
they have USDC as cash now. That's why. So if you have USDC, it's going to be under cash, right? So then that was annoying. So I have $8 worth of USDC. We're going to send 5 of that down to Arbitrum, not because of anything more than just showing you that this is so accessible. You can do this with $5. You do need to send ETH down first because you'll always need ETH to start your transactions. Like if you want to take that money and put it into the gas account on Rabby, you can certainly do that. Um, just as a point of reference, it looks like I have very little Coinbase. That's true because we don't advocate saving your money on a CEX. If you want to actually hold your money in an account, where's my ledger? It's buried here under my desk. But use a hardware wallet. Where's your ledger? There you go. There's your treasure and your ledger. That is the correct cold storage you should be using for your crypto. We talked about this last week and the week before. Don't use a CEX as a bank account, guys. Please stop doing that. Because much like what happened last Friday, people get freaked out. They start selling, panic selling. People are getting liquidated left and right. They're trying to get their money off the platform. Yeah, don't do that. Only you, unless you're using the trading function, which even then, go to Hyperliquid in DeFi. You want to use a CEX as a conduit between your fiat account,
DeFi
your
to
cold
trade with.
storage, and DeFi. That's what the CEXs do best because it makes it very easy and, in most cases, very low cost to do. So I'm just going to send $5 here. We're going to click on the Send USDC button. Okay, so at this point, you need to send it somewhere. So what we'll do is we will go up here to Rabby Wallet. It's already opened here. You have 3 ways to copy the address. This little icon up here, I should make this bigger, right? There we go. This little icon, it's still small, but whatever. There's an icon up here with 2 squares. That's the universal icon for copy. You can click that. See, that copied the address. Option number 2, you can click on the actual name of the wallet. There is another copy icon right here. You can click that. We've copied the address. Excuse me. The last way. Again, choose that address. You can copy this. I'm keeping on their phone. I don't know why. It just is what it is. We'll paste it here. It should pop up here. Now you can actually save addresses later, and that's for a different lesson. But choose that, and then from there, you now choose the network. In this case, we're going to go to Arbitrum because it's free. They're all technically free for USDC, but you have multiple choices here. Solana is also an option. But based on the address we put in, these are the different addresses we can send it to. 50 cents for Ethereum today. Wow. I remember when that was free. We'll choose Arbitrum in this case. Little pro tip, always keep this screen coming up. Do not click this because you want the nag, because you want to stop yourself every time to make sure that you are doing this correctly. I can tell you this from experience. I've seen someone send $1 million to the wrong address, to the wrong blockchain, with the wrong asset. It's not worth you trying to blaze through this, guys. Please. Say yes, it's supported because we're sending USDC on Arbitrum. Again, part of this mental thing you have to remember. So how much are we sending? We're going to send $5. Again, because I want you guys to know you don't have to have $1 million to do this. You can do this small, start small, create that snowball effect, and build your wealth. Preview. This is what we call the triple check. I've talked about this on our free community training countless numbers of times, right, Greg? This is the triple check, as we call it. And you can't see it up there on in my background, but also it always says always send a test transaction. Always a good idea here too. Technically, less than $5 in my opinion is a test transaction. If you're sending $1,000, always send $5 first, or $1, whatever you want to send, because you just want to make sure it gets there. Then send the rest. Even now, and I've been in crypto for a very long time. I've been in crypto, I've been in DeFi since 2019. It's been my full-time career since 2021. Please, guys, when I say these things, I say them from a good place, and I'm not trying to slow you down. You need to slow down and take your time. Triple check here. What are we sending? USDC. How much? And also to which network? The number of people I have caught saying they can't find their funds and they didn't realize they sent it to ETH mainnet is a staggering amount, guys. And I say that again from a good place with love because I want you to stay safe and secure. Triple check how much, what it is, and what network you're going to. And then if you want a fourth check, of course, the address you are sending it to. Okay, make sure that is all correct. Send time, as you can see, is 23 seconds. It's going to be much quicker than that. All we have to do is click on send now. I'm going to have to do my little routine here for passkeys. Or not. Or not. One thing too is, as a security tip, we talked about this last week. When you're sending, always make sure you have 2FA, whether that's passkeys with scanning QR codes, never SMS. TOTP, which is a one-time password that sends you a 6-digit number you have to put in within a certain amount of time, also fine. I use passkeys because I prefer that method of biometrics for my security. God, where did I hit them? Just a mess today. All right, so we have sent that there. It should be there by now. Best way to check that out is you can go to transactions here in Rabby. And right there, as you can see, I don't know if you can see that. We received $5 in USDC 1 minute ago. I mean, it was literally instantaneous if you think about it, because we just clicked the button like 30 seconds ago. But anyway, you can double check that if you want. This will pull up what's called the Blockchain Explorer. And on Arbitrum, it's called RBScan. And the Blockchain Explorer is the way to check how your transactions look from a blockchain perspective. Like, this is the exact thing that happened from which wallet through which smart contract and what was sent. So if you're ever looking for a hard look at your wallet or what you did, check out the Blockchain Explorer. Okay. With that said, we'll do one last thing, because I know that some people are probably curious about, I know that in Retake, shout out to all the people in Retake. Where was it? Oh, shout out to Anon. Thank you for wanting to tip. There's a yellow tip button there in the chat button. Or you can just buy my token, whichever. Let me see here.
I love Retake, by the way.
Retake's great. Shout out to retake.tv. I've been working for them. I've been working with them since before they became Retake. So they've been a long-time supporter of what we do here at Beacon, a long-time supporter of me personally, and really happy with them.
Retake.tv tips me regularly when I'm streaming.
They do. And they W Retake, and they've got some new things cooking. I've already given some feedback because I'm part of a little private beta group that they have for new features, and some really good stuff is coming. So I'm gonna do a really quick thing, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and show you just a quick way to check out the smart contract function inside of Rabby. Let's do that let's send some money to Base. I like that. I like that idea. Let's take our $5 and send it to Base, because there's a lot of things to do on Base, right? So best way to do that, the one we recommend is a jumper.exchange. Actually, let's not do that. Let's do a swap. All right, so we recommend the DeFi Llama swap. Why? Because it aggregates all the aggregators. The aggregator of aggregators, as it says here. Let me blow that up. And I'll tell you what that means in just a minute. So whenever you're using a swap, a decentralized exchange, you are trying to swap one asset for another. And that's different than when you can do it at a centralized exchange. I mean, you can certainly convert assets, right? That's the word they use, convert. It costs a little bit of money. It's very cheap when you do it on a decentralized exchange. So the first thing we'll do is just make sure we're on the correct blockchain, and to swap at DeFi, swap.defilama.com, one of our favorite websites in all of DeFi. We'll choose Arbitrum 1 because that's the blockchain we're currently on. It's the official name is Arbitrum 1, even though it's just called Arbitrum. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that USDC right here in the U cell. We're going to choose the USDC that we just sent down. As you can see, it's right there, the $5. And we're going to swap it. Let's swap it for USDT. It's all just called USDT0 now because this is the omni-chain version of USDT. And what we're doing is a swap between one stablecoin to another stablecoin. And again, a stablecoin is just a digital asset whose value is pegged to a fixed fiat currency. That's the best way to describe it right now. In this case, both of these are tied to the value of $1 US. Now, one thing I will say, and this is for another day, it is never going to be exactly at $1. It could be like 0.99997. It could be 1.0001. It's never going to be directly on a dollar. That's what makes doing some arbitrage and farming between stablecoins kind of interesting, because even though they're both pegged at a dollar, you can play off those values or between the different, the different values, or just swapping between the two and earn fees that way. So when I mentioned that this is an aggregator of aggregators, if you look up any of these dexes singularly, like Paraswap, Odos, 1inch, KyberSwap, Matcha is more of an infra play, but even a CowSwap, which is a fill intent dex. As you can see, they all return a different value, right? They're not all exactly $10.07. It's weird that it's that high. We're going to choose that one, but as you can see, they go and they find the best routes that they can find within their liquidity pools to get you the best return from taking your 10 USDC and returning you 10 USDT zeros. What DeFi Llama does is that they take all those aggregators, stack them against each other, and give you the best return versus the lowest amount of gas. So I'm going to choose this one from Paraswap because it's the best based on return, which is a little bit more than $10. It's almost 10-10. Strange. There you go. Choose max. I was like, what's wrong here? I didn't choose my max. Sorry. Choose the amount you want to send. You just click on max. You can always use you can also use this little percentage slider. That's very handy. What in the Sam hell is going on here? Since when is that's weird? Oh, I must have moved the slider here and it got stuck. Okay. I was like, when is $5 worth $3.95? I was freaked out for a second. All right, so in this case, we'll go ahead and choose the Paraswap one. And slippage is fine at 1. You can go down to 0.5% if you want. That just controls the tolerance of, I was quoted this price, and I'm giving this wiggle room for when you execute the trade on how much I'm willing to give up to get my trade done. And if you fall outside that slippage tolerance, the transaction will fail. But in general, 1% is fine. Stables, you can go lower at 0.5. Now, for now, until EIP 7702 completely comes through, EVM transactions are a 2-transaction game, the approval step and then the execution step. So we'll show you here using Rabby what this is going to look like. And this probably, I need to switch this because this is going to not look right because you're not going to be able to see the Rabby. So let me stop real quick. Okay. Wow, it didn't actually like it actually kept us in this layout. That's kind of interesting.
mean, when you switch what screen you're sharing so that you could show the Ravi wallet
Yeah,
transaction.
yeah. I'm gonna minimize you for a second, sir. My apologies. Let me stop. I didn't realize this banner was still going. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. And let me make this larger. Actually, it's a 125. We should be okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on approve. And now Rabby has come up here. This is the wallet. Okay. This is the approval step. This is the one of two processes. So what's good about Rabby is I have the ability to change this number, right? The approval amount is exactly 5. I could say it's only 3, 10. I can put whatever it's on. What I don't want is some large infinite number up there, because if that stays the same, then let's just say I get $1 million. And they can go and spend $1 million if there's an exploit that happens. Generally, you don't want to do that. You'll revoke the approvals later. Regardless, I'll just click on confirm here. And then what I want to do, because again, I talked about our gas account, I can click on that and now pay with stable coins. I remember we brought it up earlier. There's like 44 cents left in or whatever. I can pay, again, fraction of a penny for this, and then make sure I have normal gas. Because you don't need to be in a hurry to do that. Now, the smart contract, where they're doing it for the provider for Llama Swap. The other thing you want to make sure is, when was it deployed? The thing about smart contracts they are good. Once you deploy it, it's immutable, meaning you cannot manipulate, you cannot change it. The only way to change a smart contract is to deploy a new one. So you want to make sure that your deployed time is greater than 3 to 7 days, which it is here. And that's really all that you need to know. Make sure that it is a bona fide contract, whitelist, that hopefully is this one. It's using Valora instead of Llama Swap. That's fine, because that's the name of Valora. That's the name of the provider they're using for this. And then it's deployed longer than 37 days. If you look at it and it's less than that, maybe something happened. Like if it's like 2 days old, maybe something happened and they had to deploy a new smart contract, and just want to make sure that it didn't get compromised. That's all done there. We're going to click on sign and confirm. And this is the approval step. The next step that we have to do, once it's done, because it takes a second, and normally Arbitrum's a very fast blockchain, is now the actual execution. So we have the approval. Now we're going to do the actual swap. Again, we're swapping between USDC and USDT0, 2 stable coins that are very well capitalized and used a lot here in the space. Now, what's different about this now, we're looking at this, now we have what's called a transaction simulation. You'll see this on Solana, in Phantom, Soulflare, Backpack, because they put the approval and the simulation all in execution all in one step. So that's what it's going to look like after EIP 7702 is in. Most EVM blockchains should be working with that soon. Again, we'll just make sure that this all looks good. We just approved to this contract, but you can double check. As you can see, we've now interacted before, and it's the same one we just looked at. So what we'll do here is just make sure normal. We don't need to pay for more gas for something very, very trivial. Make sure we select the gas account. Now it's just 1 penny to make this transaction, which is way better than Ethereum mainnet, right? Advanced settings, people have. I had someone ask me about this on a coaching call just the other day. Advanced settings. What does this mean? Nothing to you. Don't touch it. This is the wallet pulling information from the blockchain to figure out what are the gas limit implications to make sure that this transaction will be accepted by all of the validators and the execution layer. Nonce, don't touch that either. That's just a counter that goes up that represents your unique transaction. You never need to touch it. Now you can reset the nonce if you have to, if your wallet stalls. That's outside the scope of this. Sign, confirm, and the swap is going. And there you go. So let's recap. what we've just done. And this should update at some second. There we go. There's our USDT0. And what you can do to validate that is you can come back up here, and then you can go to transactions. As you can see, we have done the smart contract option through the Valora system to swap exact amount in on something. You can click on the Arbitrum link here. It'll then take you to the Blockchain Explorer where you can actually verify exactly what happened inside of the blockchain. One thing here, this is Arbitrum. So it has been finalized. It has not been settled yet on layer 1 Ethereum, but you can pretty much call this good. Arbitrum and Optimism, again, in the weeds, they have a 7-day challenge period, blah, 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 blah. ZK proofs change that, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, doing this on shorter time, guys. So that's why I'm not going to talk about it, but you can verify exactly what happened here. So we're good with that. Now, second thing you want to do, come back to your approvals. Remember, we did that earlier. Open up Rabby, click on approvals. And if I can find, we'll do this, approval time. Well, it's not listed here. It's not listed here, so whatever. Arbitrum. Nope, it's not here yet. Well, maybe it didn't save it. I don't know. So much for that demo. Anyway, that's Rabby Wallet. This is an Arbitrum EVM chain. Just to kind of bring it back, what have we done here? So we've done two things. We've taken our Rabby wallet, which we've installed here on Brave and have it initialized. And again, this is the very crude example because we didn't even walk through how to install Rabby. That's all in our content if you want that. We took money from Coinbase. We took $5, sent it down to Arbitrum. From there, we took that money as USDC. We went over to a DEX. In this case, the one we recommend is Llama Swap because it's the aggregator of aggregators. It works on multiple EVM blockchains. It's the one we recommend because you want the best return with the least amount of gas. Use Llama Swap. And we just swap between two assets, USDC and USDT0. One of the easiest and most straightforward first transactions you can do. And with that, if you followed along so far, you are officially in DeFi. You're officially a blockchain investor, starting to become a blockchain investor. And from there, you can do a lot more wonderful things. What was your first transaction, Greg, when you first got into DeFi?
If I remember correctly, it was going to the Avalanche chain and buying AVAX was my very first transaction. But that was, like I said, back in 2021, and that used to be the blockchain that you guys recommended everyone started with. So that's
that was a long time ago.
And I'm still holding that AVAX actually.
Really? It's amazing.
Sir.
This was my first transaction. This is well, back when it wasn't even V2 yet. It was still V1. Essentially, when I first got into DeFi, I saw it. You know, most people who don't know, if you know who Taiki Maeda is, he's now known as the Humble Farmer Army Fartcoin guy. I was one of his first Discord mods. That's how I got into the space. And when I first started off in our Discord called Boba Capital, it's still there. Actually, no, it's gone now. But when we first started, I waited 45 days to do my first transaction because there was so much to look at, so much to consider that I was like, I'm not going to do anything until I fully can relate and understand how it works. It took about 30 days for me to go through everything, figure it all out, how to get money down. That took forever. I ended up using an Indian CEX called BitBNS. Shout out to them to get USDT into Polygon. That didn't cost a ton of money. You know, that's if I wanted to send more than $1,000, that's the easiest way to do it back then. But it didn't take 7 days. But I was at Aave. For those of you who are not familiar with Aave, Aave is what we call a lending AMM, an automated money market, and it was the easiest thing I could relate to. It was a savings and loan spot. And I talk about Aave all the time. Like we have multiple Beat the Banks trainings on Fridays where we talk about this. The idea that you can supply, let me pull up the most recent one, right? V3. Let's go to base. The idea that I can actually come over and then supply my coin and earn an APY for it is staggering to me. This was the first thing that really got me hooked, because my bank account, and I'll be very honest and putting them on blast, I love them to death, but let's go checking. This is crap. Right? And most banks don't even give you a dividend rate on checking. My bank gives me 0.05%. If I want more than that, I can get up to, it's actually 0.5% if I put in $500,000 on savings. But it's just a little bit less than that if I do 25 grand. For me to come in and earn 5.41% on a stable coin, on this $16, I am earning 5.4% by just putting it in here, was such a mind-blowing moment for me. I had to sit there and look at it twice. I'm like, this can't be real. Yeah, to me, this was the mind-blowing moment. And it's not as good today. Back when I started off in Polygon, because of the huge incentives they were doing, I was being paid to borrow. I could go deposit, USDC, earn on that, borrow USDC, earn on that through incentives, and then go to a yield farm on Polygon. Augur Finance is an example, or Curve, Beefy. I was a day one user of Beefy. And farm and earn a ridiculous amount of money. Well, when I say ridiculous, I just mean ridiculous amount of return on my money. Way better than this. I'm making way more than that just depositing it here.
Yep.
So for those of you who have a problem thinking that this isn't real, I just realized that the USDC is barely visible there. At its very core, guys, this is way better than anything you're going to find in TradFi. Now, I understand this can be a bit boring, but guess what? Passively making money every single day because this is an auto compounding, daily compounding position, that's fine. I still go and sit in the trenches and play with meme coins. I do it weekly. But I know the best way to go about this is to make sure I'm taking advantage of these rates, because I'm never going to get this at a savings account. Never going to get this on a CD. We have CDs, by the way. It's called Pendle. And I can make way better than any 3% CD that they're going to offer here. I mean, that's nice. 10-month special at 407. Right?
Yeah, but you can earn so much better than that in most places anymore than 4% on stable coins.
Stable coins. 41.95% on a 36, that's 36 days out. Let me find a better one. Yo USD 11 and change. Wait till March 25th. That blows that certificate way out of the water, right? And again, these are just examples, not financial advice. Do your own research. Nothing's guaranteed, right? This isn't even guaranteed.
And there's not a minimum deposit on what you can deposit in Pendle. You can put $5 in there if you want to.
Yeah. And when I come here to DeFi, they're not going to ask me for a credit check. They're not going to ask how much I make. I don't have to fill out forms to become a member and do all this mumbo jumbo to make sure you have direct access to this at the source, guys. We just gave you all this for free. Want to learn more? Join our free group. school.com/beacon. This has been On Air with Beacon. We do this every week on Tuesdays. We normally do introductions to different communities on this on a Twitter space, either video or audio. Today, the last couple of weeks, we've been just doing more tutorial stuff. But yeah, join us here, please. Help join the community, get your edge, learn about what's going on. Flagship podcast tomorrow. That's our TVL show. We'll have great guests tomorrow. Talking about the news of the week to educate you on how to interpret that. Friday is our Beat the Banks free community training. That's Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. You'll have an hour with me on Friday. Greg, thanks for being here today, brother, as always.
Yes, sir.
Any closing thoughts about getting into DeFi and why more people should do it?
Take control of your finances. Quit letting somebody else have control of your finances when you can have complete control yourself. I'm about 90% bankless. I used to say 100%, but I still have to pay some bills through my bank. Some of that account is still open. But the tools are there. Learn how to use them. Be safe about it. Come talk to us over at TVL. I'm on there all the time answering questions and putting in guides and everything else. And the best part about it is it's all free. That's where I started. You can DM Chris there, myself, or any other staff members, and they all answer back, regardless of your question. So come learn with us. Every day we're learning something new.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got.
Love it, man. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow for TVL. We'll see you on Friday for Beat the Banks. Till then, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. See you later.